Welcome to section 4.4c, Understanding the Slope of a Line. Our objective today is I can find the slope of a line from its graph using 2 points. So, as we've been talking about, the slope of a line is m equals rise over run. The rise is that vertical change, and the run measures the horizontal change between any 2 points on the line. We can do this between any 2 points on our line, and we'll get the same ratio. So let's try it. So first thing I want to do is pick 2 points that are pretty easy. This point right here, not so easy since it's a fraction. It'll be some fraction in the x direction, even though it's 0 in the y direction. Let's find one where we know definitively what it is. This point right here we do, because there won't be any fractions involved here. This is the point 0 in the x direction, negative 1 in the y direction. And here's the point 1 in the x direction and 1 in the y direction. So I'm going to draw that triangle like we've been doing. Well, I can see here that the rise is between these 2 points. I'm changing 2 in my y direction. And from the left to the right, I'm going 1 in my x direction. So my ratio here is m is equal to 2 in my rise and 1 in our run. Oh, I should use the same color. 1 in our run, which we can simplify to 2. So I simplified it to 2. So we have a slope of 2 in this line. So what if we have points instead? So here's how we do it. We want to locate any 2 points on the line, label one point number 1 and the other point number 2. Then I'm going to use the ratio of the rise and the run to find the slope. Using my equation, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The reason we label them really quick is so we don't get confused about which one is point number 2 and which one is point number 1. It doesn't matter which point we label as 1 and 2, just as long as we're consistent within our formula. So let's try one together. I want to label my 2 points as point number 1 and point number 2. So point number 1, I'll have this be point number 2. And my equation is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is a good thing to memorize. You're going to be using it a lot. So I'm going to use my number 1 point. I'm just going to fill in my values over here. So actually, I'll start with number 2. So my y value for number 2 is 4. It's going to be minus and over. And my x value for number 2 is negative 7. Then on my number 1 points, it's going to be minus 3 and minus 2. Well, remember, these minuses are going to cancel out on both cases. And we're going to get 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3 is equal to 7 over negative 7 plus 2, which is negative 5. So our slope here is negative 7/5. Negative 7/5. Okay. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two on your own. Now that you've done that, let's do them really quickly together. So I'm going to label this point to be my number 1 and this point to be my number 2, and y2 m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to start with my number 2 points, and I'll have my y value there and my x value here. On my line, put in my negatives, have my y value for my point number 1 here, and my x value here. Okay, the negatives are going to become positive because I'm multiplying my negative 3 times a negative 1 out in front. So, negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. We simplify that down, right? The 5's cancel, and I'll get negative 1. I'll get negative 1 for my slope there. So then I'm going to have this point be my number 1, this point be my number 2, and y2 minus y1. So I'm going to say that negative 4, I'll be over, my x value for that is negative 3, minus my y value here is 6, my x value here is negative 2. Well, these will cancel out, and I'll get negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10, over negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Okay, my minuses are going to cancel, and I'll be left with a slope of 10. Whoa, that's pretty big. Slope of 10 is really steep. Okay, let's try doing that from 2 points on a line. So I'm going to pick 2 easy points. Here's a really easy point right there. And where else do I have an easy point? Right here. So I could draw my triangle, but we're going to try doing it the way we've been doing it. So this is 0 in our x direction and 2 in our y direction. And this point, let's do it in a different color so that we can differentiate. This point is negative 2 in our x and negative 1 in our y direction. Okay, so our formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to fill in my points. So this point will be, let's have this be my point number 2. Let's have this point be my point number 1, just because I can pick them in either order I want. So in my number 2 point, let's have negative 1 and negative 2, and we'll draw our lines. Here we go. And then for point number 1, we'll have 2 and 0. Okay, so what's that going to be? Well, negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2. So I'll get a positive 3 halves. Now let's double check with our graph. Did we rise 3 and run 2? Well, we went rising 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 2, 1, 2. Looks like we did it right. Good stuff. Here's one for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video and try it out on your own. Now that you've had a chance to do that, I picked 2 points for you because they're kind of hard to see. Here we go. This is the point 0 in our x, 2 in our y direction. And this is the point, looks like 5 in our x, and negative 2 in our y direction. Okay, I'm going to make this point number 1 up here. I'll make this point number 2 down here. So, what m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's fill in some values. So, from my second point, I'll have negative 2 and 5 here. And on my first point, I'll have 2 and 0. So, negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. 5 minus 0 is 5. And I can't simplify that anymore. So I'll get our slope is negative 4/5. Our slope is negative 4/5. Which means that if I run 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I rise negative 4, 3, 4, that means that I'll get at that point. The cool thing is, what if I had chosen this point right here? Well, I'll get that same slope. I'll get that same slope in the same ratio, even though I chose 2 different points. So each line has the same slope throughout. Any straight line has the same slope throughout the line. Okay, so now we're going to plot the point that we're given. We're going to use the slope to identify the rise and run. Then starting at the point, count out the rise and run to mark the next point and connect both points with a line. Yay! This is easy. Easy. It's hard until it's easy, and then it's easy. So I'm going to start with the point that we're given, which is 1 in our x and negative 1 in our y direction, right there. Then I'm going to count out my slope. So I know the slope is rise over run, so I'm going to go up 2 and over 3, 1, 2, 3. Which give me this point right here. Then I want to draw a line. I won't even cheat this time. See, look at this. Okay, I want to draw this line with arrows on the end for the slope. There we go. We just plotted a line using the slope and 1 point on the line. Okay, why don't you go ahead and try 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, now that you've had a chance to try it on your own, let's do it together. So we want to start with the point negative 2 in our x direction, 3 in our y direction, which is right there. Then we want to go rise 1, run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then here we go. Let's draw our line. Whoosh. Oh, I missed. Let's try that again. There we go. So there's our line. Very nice. Let's look at the next one. Go ahead and pause the video and try it out on your own. Now that you've had a chance to do that, let's try it together. So we want to graph the line passing through the point negative 2, positive 1. So negative 2 in our x direction, 1 in our y direction, which is right here. Then I want to find this one with the slope of 3. Remember that slope of 3 is actually 3 over 1, right? It was a 3 over 1 the whole time, which means we want to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, and run 1 to get this point right here. And let's draw our line. Something like that. There we go. So now you know how to graph lines using 1 point and the slope, and you also know how to get the slope from graphs. So if I give you a line, you'll be able to find the slope. Okay, thanks for watching and have a great day. See you in a future video.